Okay, so today I'm going to make a quick video on terminal utilities. Basically, anything other than the terminal is just sheer fucking blow. Okay? Remember the day when computers would just be a teletype port? Well, that's really all you need. And today I'm going to convince you why you should use the terminal for everything you can. And the beauty of this is, you can do this without changing your operating system. So you can get used to the terminal and then switch to Linux. Oh, Linux is scary, it's only for servers and nerds. Fuck off, incompetent scum. Alright, now, I'll start my screen and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, here it is, started. Okay. Something is missing here. I see a neofetch, but I don't see an object. Hang on, let me rectify that quickly. There we go. Now we are ready. Okay. So first of all, you can download Alacrity. It's basically some terminal emulator which is like fast and shit, and you can get NeoVim on it, and I made a guide on that before. And the point of this video, again, is to use minimal terminal-like utilities. So take NeoMud, for example. It's basically email on the terminal. It locally caches your stuff, and it has Vim-like key bindings, and it's fast as hell. It's just way more minimal and it's just way more minimal. You don't need like 50 gigs of RAM to open up a browser. And another thing about the terminal is doing things from the terminal means you can automate them. So take, for example, this script I wrote called the pen tablet script. And now I have a graphics tablet, which I sometimes connect to like draw and shit on the computer because I don't want to use paper. Yay, trees. And basically, I want that mapped to this monitor. So what I do is I use dmenu, I pipe it into dmenu, and I just run the script. I press Mod S, and I can just select a bunch of scripts I want to run. And after I run it, it maps the input of that pen tablet to my second monitor, which is the one right here. And I do that with a key press. I don't need to like type the command or whatever. I just need to type the command once and I put it into a shell script. Now, if I had to do this from some GUI settings menu, like on Windows or whatever, I'd have to click a bunch of things and I'd have to click them all the time. There'd be no way of automating it. But now I can just use grep and grep the ID of the pen tablet and whatnot, and then I can use xrandor to map that in, and I turn that into a shell script. In fact, I'll actually show you what that looks like here. And okay, here's another terminal-like utility, which is really cool. It's called LF, which is basically list files. It's a terminal file manager. You can have bookmarks, as you can see at the bottom. I'm not going to show you the bookmarks, because I don't want to show you my university files. I don't want to like dox myself or whatever, but yeah. I'll show you some of the shell scripts I wrote. So I'll show you the pen tablet script. Okay, so this thing, you can see x input list. So when I run that, it outputs all this. Now, if I had a pen tablet attached to it, it basically greps the name of the pen tablet, and this basically modifies a little bit, so it just becomes the ID name, and then I just run this command. And I put it in a shell script. So when I do, and I have this binded to dmenu, so it just runs. And, okay, so terminal file manager as well. Again, I press LF, and boom, I can navigate wherever I want. If I press Y, I go to my YouTube video script, I open it up in the tech, I can open up the tech file, I can edit it with Vim, I can quit it, I haven't used a key binding at all. And another cool thing I can do is I can also change backgrounds. So I press B, look at that, the background changed. We lost our object, let's get the object back. There we go. Okay, now, and another thing about terminal utilities is you can use key bindings for them. You don't need to use your mouse at all. It's just key bindings. And okay, this is CMUS, another terminal utility where you can play music. So you can judge my music taste. I don't give a fuck. Probably better than yours though. Not that it matters. So I press KJ, Vim key bindings, boom. I press enter and I play shit. Now let's go back to this. And the beautiful thing about terminal utilities is they store their settings in a .config file. So storing settings with the GUI clicky interface thing is actually extremely difficult. And moving settings to a new system is also virtually impossible. You cannot store settings at all. But in Linux, you have this thing called a .config directory. So you can look at this. This is my Alacrity settings. So every time I go into a new system, all I have to do is I have to copy over this file into the new .config directory, and I have my same settings. Now let's go over to NeoVim. Now you can see I have multiple NeoVim configs here. So this is my NeoVim config. All I need to do is I take this nvim config, and I just paste it into the .config directory of my SSH system or whatever, right? Very easy to just move your settings and your preferences to another machine, even if it's over SSH. You just use rsync or whatever the fuck, and you can get this file into your SSH, and from the SSH terminal, you can have the same IDE setup with the same key bindings and the same plugins. And okay, let's just go over another one. Let's go over LF. This is the file manager I'm using. So this is LF. Now, LF is a terminal file manager, and Again, you can do this from the terminal, meaning you can do this from an SSH. So you don't need to use CP or CD or MV or any of those commands. What real GigaChads do is we just use terminal file managers, and we use these all the fucking time. So you can actually write, okay, I'll just zoom in here so you blind motherfuckers can see. I can read I'm not trying to flex. I can read 8 terminal font without glasses 60 centimeters away from my screen. Not trying to flex. So you can see here, I wrote a CMD to unzip it, and I binded it to, what did I bind it to? I binded it to AU. I wrote it somewhere down there. So now I can unzip things just by pressing AU and selecting the file in my file manager. And basically $F is the current file you have like highlighted. So again, the point of this video is you can do virtually everything from the terminal. Editing text, NeoVim. Managing your files, LF. Don't use Ranger, that's written in Python and it's just slow as fuck. LF is written in Go and it gets turned into a binary. Again, so yeah, managing files, doing things like remapping inputs and whatnot, so like xrandr, the pen tablet example I showed you before. You can write yourself things like reminders and whatnot, so let me just go you can also pattern search. So I pattern search for scripts down there, I press enter and boom, it takes me to the directory. So I wrote scripts for volume, audio, battery, I even wrote my own status bar, and okay, this is the main shell script out. This is the D menu thing. So now every time I press mod S, it actually opens a menu on top with all the shell scripts I want to execute. So I don't have to do things like /path to the shell script in a terminal window. No, I just press mod S because I use DWM, real G, and then I can just select the shell script I want. So let's take the shell script called man, which is mansplain. So instead of running mansplain man, which is a utility which tells you about how to use shit, instead of running that, what I just do is I press mod S and I just go over to man, and then I select the one I want. So let's say D menu. I press enter and boom, I have it in PDF format. And I can just see all of that there. All from the terminal. All that is binded to a shell script, is binded to a key, and I don't have to worry about clicking shit or writing it twice, ever. I press mod shift enter. I open up the terminal. For me, my mod key is on, and boom, I am ready to go. I move to a new system. If I'm in an SSH or whatever, I just copy over the config files. Easy shit. This is why you should use terminal utilities instead of GUIs or whatever. The configuration and settings are easy to store. It's easier to configure. They're more minimal for performance, meaning they're faster. And you can just use key bindings and you can automate tasks. It's like I never really do the same thing twice at all. I either have it binded to a key or in the D menu thing I showed you earlier. That's why you should use terminal utilities. So first start using terminal utilities, and once everything you do in the computer is basically from the terminal, you can just switch to a Linux distro easy. Alright, thanks for watching. Use the terminal. Stop using bloated shitty software.